for some reason. All right. Thanks. Appreciate
that.
it. Well, tonight we're going to talk with us a little bit about mindfulness and music. And so it's a term that we see a lot, I think, in the news today, and particularly something that people talk about in relationship to stress sometimes, or maybe studying yoga, or perhaps studying meditation, or in some way has some relationship to that, or and I'm wondering if you might speak a little bit about some of those things and some of your ideas around the topic.
Absolutely. So before I do that, I'm just going to give a 1-minute shout out to Sonoma State. I do hope many of you will come visit Weil Hall here at Sonoma State and observe, come to watch a concert when we have concerts again. It will happen. And then if you're a prospective student and you're interested in applying to Sonoma State, please feel free to email me with any questions about the application process. We are accepting auditions and applications as we speak, as we head into the December deadline for applications. We do have scholarships, including full scholarships available for talented musicians, especially string players. We're really building our strings program. So everything can be found out on our website, music.sonoma.edu, and then you can email me. I'll put that in the chat as well. Right there. So mindfulness. This is a topic I've been interested in a little bit for a while, and then a lot very recently. Basically, to make a long story short, I started meditating and reading a lot about Buddhism when I was an undergraduate student at college. And on my own, without really any connection to music whatsoever, I started doing meditation fairly regularly and doing more and more reading about Buddhism. And then by the time I was a college professor at Gettysburg College, I started very slowly connecting the dots between music and mindfulness, and using mindfulness as a way to improve how I was conducting, as a way to improve how my students were performing, and as a way to improve my rehearsal process. And I'm very excited. I'm actually currently finishing a book that hopefully will be published in 2021 once the publishing houses reopen. And that book is called Caring for the Whole Musician. It'll be published by Routledge Press. It's a book I'm co-writing with 2 other authors, an expert on the Alexander technique. Some of you may know about the Alexander technique. And an expert on identity. And so for me, I look at mindfulness as something that can be applied to 3 aspects of your life as a musician. What I'll call the pregame, everything you do as a musician to get ready for a performance or a rehearsal or a practice session. The mid-game, things you can do while you're actually making music. And the post-game. And so the book that I'm writing talks in a fair amount of detail about activities, exercises you can use in the pregame, the mid-game, and the post-game. Now, what I'm going to do tonight, given that my eyes are exhausted from staring at a screen all day, as probably most of yours are as well, I thought I would do a more interactive type of evening rather than a straight lecture, where you'll actually be able to try out some of these exercises instead of me, kind of talking a lot and showing you a lot of slides. That being said, if you would like to learn more about what I'm writing about, again, please feel free to shoot me an email. I'm happy to send you, more concrete and more detailed elaborations on everything I'm talking about. Before we get to those exercises, though, let's just get one thing out of the way, which is to define mindfulness. Mindfulness has been defined in many different ways, but a simple definition is mindfulness is paying attention in the present moment to the present moment without judgment. Paying attention in the present moment to the present moment without judgment. That is a definition that was coined by John Kabat-Zinn. Kabat-Zinn is both a mindfulness meditation teacher and a psychologist, very, very famous psychologist from Boston. And he basically coined this definition, which is used fairly regularly. Now, let's pull that definition apart a little bit more. Paying attention in the present moment. That means basically, as I sit here now, speaking through this computer of mine to you, I am paying attention to everything around me, the sounds in my room where I am, the visual input, what I see on the screen and what I see on my wall around me, the feelings I have, you know, the feeling of my body making contact with the chair that I'm sitting on, the feelings of my breath, being aware of my breathing as I'm speaking, any sensual input that's coming into your body right now through taste, touch, sound, sight. These are all what it means to be paying attention to the present moment, in the present moment. What I'm not paying attention to, or what I'm trying to basically exclude from my thought processes, are thoughts about the past and thoughts about the future and thoughts about the present. In other words, here's an observation about the present. I'm seeing a map on the wall in front of me. Here's a thought about the present. Oh, that map reminds me of, you know, that map is a map of the Appalachian Trail, which reminds me of the time that I hiked the Appalachian Trail. Wasn't that fun? I wonder when I'm next going to have a chance to hike, right? Here's another observation about the present moment. I feel my, my sits bones making contact with the chair. A thought is, oh man, I didn't really have enough time to do enough yoga today. I didn't really get in a good workout today, and I'm feeling a little stiff, and I wish I had more time and wasn't in front of the computer all day, right? So observation versus thought. And then without judgment, again, means that all these observations that I'm making, I'm not attributing any positive or negative qualities to them. I'm not saying I'm hearing sound X and I don't like sound X. And I'm not saying I'm feeling sensation Y and I really enjoy sensation Y. It's not, we're excluding judgment. We're excluding the labels of good, bad, should have, should not have, that we often apply to most aspects of our lives. All right, so that's basically what mindfulness is. And, you know, people who teach mindfulness are probably able to be mindful, I don't know, 7% of their time. And then, and for the most of us, if you spend the next 24 hours or so, ask yourself, am I mindful right now? I'm willing to bet that most of us, most of you, and myself included, are probably only mindful 1% to 2% to 3% of the time. Why is that? Because our brain is constantly being pulled in different directions by emails, text messages, Twitter, you know, family members, deadlines, thoughts about the past, thoughts about the present. They're all pulling us out of this connection to the present moment. Now, that's fine for our normal everyday life. You know, we do have to respond to emails and we do have to make plans for the future, but it's detrimental, I argue, to our job as musicians, because in order to make music, when we're in the act of making music, we're going to do it better. We're going to do it with more enjoyment and more passion and more ease if we're doing it with our minds and our bodies and our emotions, our hearts, in the present moment. We've all hopefully had the experience of playing a concert and you walk off of the stage after the concert's over and you feel blissful, grateful, like you lost a sense of yourself, like you no longer have a sense of time, like you felt sort of in control, but also having released control. Those are all emotions that are associated with, or experiences that are associated with being in the present moment, with being mindful. As a musician, you probably associate them mostly with music making, but all of those experiences are also possible through meditation or through other mindfulness activities. You've probably also all had the experience of being in a concert and you're playing a piece and suddenly you play an F sharp instead of an F natural. And your mind goes, mistake, mistake, mistake. I made a mistake. I can't believe it. I made the mistake. Did I circle that F sharp? Did I practice it enough? I can't believe it. I wonder if my teacher in the front row noticed that, right? All those judgmental observations that are popping in to take us away from the flow experience of making music and take us into the realm of the mind, out of the realm of the present moment. So again, so mindfulness is not some fancy, experience that musicians don't have on a regular basis. At our best moments as musicians, we are mindful. It's just most of us don't know how to train ourselves to be mindful more often, and how to train ourselves to just call it up with minimal effort, and to experience mindfulness outside of the rehearsal room, outside of the practice room, outside of the concert hall. So that's a little bit about what mindfulness is. I'd love, we have a chat here, of course. I'd love any comments in the chat. How many of you practice mindfulness or meditation on a regular basis? Of course, I'm always open to any questions about what I'm talking about. Please feel free to use the chat for that purpose. Because we're in Northern California, I'm guessing I'm not the only meditator on this Zoom call. So I'm just curious to see who else has experimented with this.
Alex, how do you prepare for, best prepare to put yourself in a place where you can take advantage of being as mindful as possible?
Stay tuned. We're going to get to that. You're jumping ahead there. You're not.
I'm sorry.
You're going towards the future.
I thought we were asking questions. I will wait.
No, I'm just going to check the chat first before I.
Okay.
But great. So meditate, yoga, meditating during church. Great. Anybody else want to put anything in the chat before I move on? Okay, so let's do some simple walking meditation. Yeah, that's great. That's great. I'll definitely talk about that. Yeah, definitely I'll talk about walking meditation. That's a good one. All right, so let's try a little bit of practice here. What I have in my hand here, sleep. Sleep, they say sleep is the poor man's meditation. Okay, so I have here in my hand a iPhone. And on this iPhone of mine, I have an app which I highly recommend called the Insight Timer. I'll put it in the chat. There are many apps out there now that are mindfulness apps or meditation apps. This is the one I recommend the most because it's free and it's very versatile. Yeah, it's a good app. It's free, it's very versatile, and there's a lot of different things you can do with it. What we're going to do now is a simple mindfulness of the breath exercise. So I'm going to ask everybody to close their eyes. Good. Go ahead and close your eyes. Sit in a comfortable position. Find a way that you're comfortable. It doesn't have to be, upright or, whatever is comfortable for you. And then as I'm speaking, slowly start to pay attention to your breath. You don't necessarily need to breathe deeper or slower, or, you don't have to control your breath anyway. Just start to notice it, start to pay attention to it. In about 20 seconds, you're gonna hear a bell. When you hear that bell, all you have to do is stay focused on your breath. Just stay focused on your breath. If that's easy to do, great. If it's not easy and you find yourself thinking about things, thinking about the past or the future or whatever, just gently guide your thoughts back to your breath. Imagine that your thoughts are, monkeys clambering through trees that are running out in different directions. You want to gather those monkeys and hold them tight and bring them back to your breath. It's okay. That's what monkeys do. That's what thoughts are designed to do. They're designed to wander. But if you notice that happening, just guide them back to your breath. We'll do this for about 4 minutes. I guarantee you it will not feel like 4 minutes. For some of you, it'll feel like much less than 4 minutes. And for some of you, it'll feel like an eternity. But we're going to do 4 minutes. Once you hear the bell, we can start the process. Any questions? All right, here comes the bell.
Hello?
All right, when you're ready, you can open your eyes. I love that somebody came in the middle of it and said, hello, that was great. Why do I say that was great? It's because that's exactly the sort of thing that meditation practice is designed to help us with, right? Um, it's meditation practice is designed to help us deal with disturbances or things that come out of left field. And, you know, we could have reacted by saying, oh no, we were meditating. This person who said hello, they ruined the meditation, right? Or we could just, oh, okay. And then you go back to your breath. Yeah, great. So I love any comments in the chat. That's nice. We already have one from Lucy. Thank you very much, Lucy. Thanks, Colin. Yeah, good. If you're already regularly meditating, just keep at it every day, like a cough in a performance. Exactly, exactly. You know, somebody coughs and while you're playing, or oh, okay, good, recentered. Yeah, I love doing these lectures because it relaxes me too. You know, my brain was just going around like, you know, in circles like a hamster all day, and this is really helpful for me. You know, we're all just thinking all day. We're staring at screens all day, and this is a great way to counteract that 99% of the time activity that we're all doing right now. Yeah, if you experienced anything physical like shaky leg or tension somewhere, that's normal. Some meditation teachers will tell you, like, if you're in pain or you're experiencing anything physical discomfort, just ignore it. Just keep meditating. But I'm of the school that says, no, you can. It's okay if you need to get up and stretch. You get up and stretch and deal with it. Good. So just to take a minute to imagine now that you're about to practice your instrument, or you're about to perform, or you're about to go to rehearsal, and think about what might be different now than your usual experience. And I want to emphasize that this is not just for performances, right? I know a lot of musicians who do meditate before a performance because they want to get in the zone, but I do this before I practice as well. My practice sessions go so much better when I've meditated than when I haven't. Because when I practice, and I'm probably not the only one here, but sometimes when I practice, here are the thoughts that are going through my head. Oh, I can't believe I'm still stuck on this one chord. I should have fixed this measure 2 weeks ago. I'm such a bad musician, and I'm still playing it too slow, or I'm still playing it too fast, and it's not going well. And I want to be finished with this piece so I can get to the next piece, right? All this like chatter about this judgmental chatter, frankly, going on. Happens to so many musicians when they practice. Meditation can help quiet that judgment. And meditation doesn't mean that when you're practicing and you play a G sharp instead of a G natural, that you just say, oh, okay, no problem. You know, I'm going to keep playing the wrong note. No, of course you work on playing the right note, but you don't get upset about it. You don't beat yourself up about it. You know, I've seen musicians when they practice, after half an hour, they're starting to like really almost physically beat themselves up and really give themselves a hard time physically or mentally. And this can help relieve that. How long do I practice for? That's a great question. I generally recommend take more breaks than you think you need to. So the longest I would ever go without taking a break of any kind would be 45 minutes. But I'm also a big believer in mini breaks. Let's say you've played like a really intense passage for 5 minutes and you start to notice there's a little bit of muscle fatigue. Take a 1-minute break and do some stretching, right? You're not going to lose that much practice time by taking a 1-minute break. And you're going to gain a lot more health, a lot more vitality, a lot more responsiveness to what your body is telling you. So longest would be 45 minutes, but even within that, you can even do this if you're in a long orchestra rehearsal and your conductor is not giving you enough breaks. You know, you can, while you're sitting in your chair in orchestra, do this. Obviously I have a green screen, so it's kind of hard to see what I'm doing, but basically little stretches, little mini breaks, physical breaks, little breathing exercises. Even when you don't have a long break, you can do. So that, what we just did was called mindfulness of the breath. It's also sometimes called vipassana meditation. This is just one of many, many different forms of meditation. If that did not work for you, again, I would recommend go to Insight Timer. And there's so many different types of meditations you can find there. There are guided meditations. If you want to do a meditation where you're listening to somebody sort of guide you through the meditation on any number of topics or any number of types of imagery, you can find that on Insight. You know, there's also, of course, transcendental meditation and lots of different types of meditation out there, but you can find all of them on Insight Meditation. So I'm going to give another quick example of how to practice, which is somebody brought up in the chat earlier, walking meditation. Walking meditation is a great form of meditation. And normally when I do this lecture, I'm with a group of people in person, so it's kind of hard to show what I mean. But think about when you're walking. Okay, this is think back to the pre-COVID era. Think about what it was like to walk from one class to another class. Right? If you're anything like most of my students, when you're walking from class A to class B, you are maybe checking your phone, you're talking to somebody you're passing in the hallway, your shoulders are tense, you're looking down, you're not, you're walking as quickly as you can to get to the next location. That's our normal walking habit. Walking meditation is a type of meditation that aims to completely upend how we normally walk. Walking meditation basically involves picking a very, very short amount of space. It could be 4 feet, 6 feet, 10 feet, a very short amount of space, and walking back and forth from one end of that space to the other as slowly as possible so that you experience every step and you experience every movement of every muscle. You keep your eyes down. You don't close your eyes, but you keep them down basically towards, about a 45-degree angle. And you just pay attention to what it feels like to walk. Why don't we try that for 2 minutes, and then I'll explain, what some of the benefits are. So again, I'll set this timer now for 2 minutes. Go ahead if you're able to get up and find a little area to walk around in very, very slowly. If you're walking too quickly, if you don't feel every toe touch the floor one at a time, that means you're walking too quickly. Okay, so the bell is going to ring in again in about 10 seconds. All right, if you haven't already done so, you can come back to your screen. So again, I would love to invite comments in the chat. What was that experience like? And what do you think maybe might be the purpose of walking meditation? Good. Great. Yeah. So if you found the first type of meditation, the sitting meditation, challenging, this is, it's not, this walking meditation is no, it's no less, it's not less than sitting meditation. Most people, when they think of meditation in their minds, you know, sitting meditation is the first thing that comes to their mind. But tradition has it that in the Buddhist tradition, you know, when the Buddha laid out guidelines for meditation, he said the 4 types of meditation are sitting, standing, reclining, and walking. So they were not, they were all, for the Buddha, historically speaking, allegedly, they were all at the same level of importance. Planning each step. Good, 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 good. So walking meditation is meant to be an antidote to 2 things that we do a lot in life. One of which we do a lot less now than we used to. The first thing is the fact that most of the time we're kind of unaware of our bodies. We're sitting in front of a computer and we're just in our brains, right? And then the walking meditation helps us to get connected to our bodies and take us out of our brains and back into our bodies. The other thing it's meant to combat is rushing and busyness, right? So often, especially in the pre-COVID days, we were rushing from point A to point B. We never really pay attention to what it feels like to walk. We never pay attention to what we see on our walk, the birds in the sky, the flowers, you know, all the experiences we can have, all the things we can take in on our way from point A to point B. Yeah, great. Yeah, that's a good question, or a good comment. That's a common experience, Ashley. There is no one right way. There are so many different types of meditation. And I always try to remind people the point of meditation is to realize that your mind is active. It's not necessarily that you're going to start meditating and automatically, boom, you're not going to have any thoughts ever again. Your mind is going to suddenly, poof, be quiet. It's just to start noticing your mental activity, to start noticing your mental chatter. Breathing is better. Good, good. So at Sonoma State, for example, we have classes in one building and practice rooms in another building. And the students always complain, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to go on a 10-minute walk to get from my class to the practice room. And I always say to them, this is the best opportunity you could possibly have to do a walking meditation before you practice. Because the student who has a practice session in building B and leaves building A and they're chatting on their phone or texting or whatever, distracted, thinking about tests, not aware, rushing, that student is not going to practice as effectively as student B, who uses that walk. Maybe they're not walking as slowly as they might be in a traditional walking meditation, but let's say student B decides, okay, I'm going to not use my phone. I'm going to notice the sights around me. I'm going to pay attention to my breathing, pay attention to my walking. Yeah, absolutely takes practice. So again, nowadays, most of us we're not rushing from point A to point B as much as we normally are, but it still is a very beneficial practice to do walking meditation. I've talked about activities we can do that are sort of, you know, to use a fancy word, they're paramusical. In other words, they're activities we can do away from music, but you can also incorporate these types of practices into music. One thing you can practice, for example, is what we call mindful listening. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to play a brief excerpt from Carmen, of course, since that's the theme for the year. And I invite you to try to listen to this excerpt mindfully. What that means is, as you're listening, try to turn off your music theory brain. If you're thinking, oh, I hear a perfect authentic cadence, or I heard a beautiful fifth, or you know, whatever music theory stuff comes in your brain, just turn it off and listen. If you are paying attention to the performance, oh, this was too fast, this was too slow, this was too sharp, this is too flat, try to turn that off and just listen. Or if you find yourself comparing yourself to this recording, let's say this is a piece you're working on as a musician right now, and you think, oh, this person sounds better than I do, or they sound worse than I do. Again, try to turn it off and try to listen in a way that you're not analyzing the performance, you're not thinking about the performance, you're just listening to the music with your whole self. So I encourage you to do this with your eyes closed, and just pay attention to your body and watch those thoughts. Try to keep the thoughts down and just listen, just enjoy the music without analyzing it. So give me a second here and I'll share my sound in just a second. There we go. All right. I apologize if that was too soft. I did have the volume turned up. So what was it like to listen to that with those instructions? Hopefully a little bit different. Disney movie, okay, nice.
I have a question.
Sure.
Oh, how can we find this music? I really liked it.
That's a question for Stephen Thompson. Can you tell us about that?
That's the on-track. That's the on-track from between the third and fourth acts of the opera. If I am I right in that? I
Correct.
think that's where that
I
occurs.
just closed my browser, but I'm going to open it again and try to find. It was the Berlin Philharmonic.
The Berlin Philharmonic. It
You
was
go
a
wrong with the Berlin Phil.
yeah. I what I really noticed in listening in that recording is how the entire orchestra is playing like it was a chamber ensemble, and they at the ends of the phrases there was no rush at all to go into that next beat. It was really just unfolded into the next beat so beautifully, and you could tell that those players had played together for a long time and really knew what uh, what to expect from each other. You know, a lot of trust there. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's a beautiful recording.
it is. Good. Other comments? Sure. Yeah, so I'll tell you how I normally listen to music on a day-to-day basis as a conductor. A piece like that, which I've conducted many times, often if I'm listening to it, I'm listening for the intonation. I'm listening and remembering, oh, you got to cue the clarinet in that measure. Oh, you know, you have to take a little retard here. Make sure you cue the violins. Is that tasto or is it, you know, is it on the fingerboard or is it close to the bridge? I'm analyzing it. Oh, there's a deceptive cadence there. All the music theory, the music history, the conducting training I have, all the training we've had as musicians. And when you get to be my age, you've had a lot of training. You know, I got an undergraduate degree in music, a doctorate in music, and a graduate performance diploma in music. So I've had a lot of training. And so there's a lot of thoughts about music that have gone into my head since the time I was a little kid. But what I try to go back to when I'm doing this sort of mindful listening exercise is I try to imagine that I'm listening to it and I don't know anything about music. I know nothing about it. And I just enjoy it in a way that sometimes if you're lucky and you're around a little kid and you watch a little kid listen to music in a way that a little kid enjoys music. They don't know about deceptive cadences or, you know, perfect authentic cadences. They don't know, but they enjoy it, right? And as musicians, we're in danger, I believe, of forgetting to enjoy music when we listen to it because we're so busy trying to analyze it and understand it and put it into the right box and control it. And so I use this exercise as a conductor a lot when I'm studying a piece. After I've done a lot of study of the piece, I simply try to take a time to listen to it in this way, which completely reconnects me to the emotional content of the piece, to the beauty of the piece, to what it feels like to be human in a way that we sometimes forget when we're just thinking about, you know, this. And so for any performers out there, I really encourage you to try this out. If you're working on a piece, and especially if you've gotten to the point with that piece where you're like so obsessed with the fingerings, like you're really into the details of the music, the fingerings and the chord changes and the string crossings, whatever it is, you're so deep into that music as a performing musician, as a music analyst. Take some time to turn off that part of your brain, go back to just enjoying that music and remembering why we love music as human beings in the first place. And I guarantee you that that experience will help you step back and relax and play this music with your heart and play with your emotions and connect to your audience in a way that like just stressing out over the details of the piece will not allow you to do. So I really encourage that experience, that experiment. We're gonna do one more experiment and you may wish to turn off your screen. I'm gonna play another excerpt from Carmen. So share computer audio. This time, if you might want to turn off your screen for this. Instead of just simply sitting and listening to music, what I encourage you to do, hopefully there's nobody else watching you and you won't be too embarrassed, but what I encourage you to do is get up and dance around the room to the music. And when I say dance around the room, I really mean move around the room to the music. You don't have to do a certain dance step. You know, it doesn't have to be a dance. Just however this music makes your body want to move, that's what I want you to do. And again, we're going to choose a very famous excerpt from Carmen, because I know that's the theme of the semester. If I can spell it right. There we go.
writing's not...
I'm gonna turn up my screen.
Je préfère in aria di mais il me plaît. L'amour, l'amour est enfant du bohème, il n'a jamais connu de loi. Si tu ne m'aimes pas, je t'aime. Si je t'aime, prends garde à toi. Si tu ne m'aimes pas, si tu ne m'aimes pas, je t'aime. Mais si je t'aime, si je t'aime,
I'm going to stop there in the interest of time. I hope most of you did this and you didn't have too many family members or pets or friends around who made you feel embarrassed about it. This is another great exercise that I recommend for all musicians. And again, it goes back to how we responded to music when we were little kids. When we were little kids, if you hear music, you move to it, right? You naturally do it. And then as classical musicians, especially over time, we have that beat out of us. Why? Because our teachers, when we're practicing and we're swaying around and enjoying the music, they say, no, sit still, hands on the piano, or, no, you have to stand like this to play the violin. So we're discouraged from moving too much. And then the same thing goes for us as audience members. When you go, hopefully you can remember back to the very first few times as a child, you were in a concert hall and you moved and an adult around you went, sit still, or you laughed or you clapped at the wrong spot. And, we have this really intense fear of allowing people to use their bodies, generally in classical music performances. The opposite is of course true if you go to a rock concert or, obviously people are encouraged to dance there, but in classical music world, we have that built out of us. So this is, again, something I encourage you to do, to just remember having fun moving to music, which is something we all did when we were really young. I especially encourage this for conductors because, when conductors get in the habit of they're just kind of conducting like this and they're not really engaging the rest of their body, it's a really good way to remind them of how the music actually naturally makes you want to move and then incorporating that natural movement into your conducting. But also true for any performer. Any performer can benefit from loosening up and see how the music makes you want to feel physically, and then incorporating as much of that as possible. Obviously, every instrument has its own idiosyncrasies and limitations, but see if you can incorporate it, and not in a sort of showy way of saying, "Oh, look at me, I'm moving to the music," but in a natural way that reflects how the music actually makes you want to move in a natural way. So I know we're coming up to the 8:30 hour, and so I want to maybe open it up for some questions. Yes, that was the habanera from Carmen. So I'll open it up for some questions, and I can talk more about. I mostly have been focusing on things you can do to get ready for performance, or but I can also, if people have questions, I can talk more about during a performance or after a performance, the mid game or the post game. Yeah, I didn't say lang lang. That was not me, for the record. I was not the one who said lang lang, but that's exactly who I was thinking about when I was thinking about moving artificially. Right. Yes, the lang lang effect, absolutely.
It's the eye roll. It's the eye rolling that always gets it for me with Lang Lang. Yes.
He has been a frequent guest of the Green Center, so I don't want to say too much bad about him.
Amazing pianist, but yeah.
Cookie.
Oh, right. They want to know what your favorite cookie is.
Macadamia nut.
Oh, thank you for not saying chocolate chip.
Yeah, I like chocolate chip.
Oh, who doesn't?
How long? Yeah, that's a good question. How long to meditate for? So, it's a great question. If you do a minute a day of this, it'll have an effect. So, obviously more is better. But if you're like, man, I never have any time to meditate. Yes, you do. You have 1 minute you can do. So even a lot of teachers say if you can have 3 mindful breaths spaced out throughout the day, then you're meditating, then it's effective. There have been studies that show that about 15 minutes is about, the optimum, to get the full benefits. That's a good minimum to aim for, 15 minutes at a time. But again, if you do 3 breaths, that can be very effective. I'm going to recommend a book in the chat that mentions this three breath technique. It's called The Mindful Day. I have it actually right here. Lori Cameron is the author. Excellent book about how to incorporate mindfulness from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. Other questions? How do you spell what?
I think macadamia.
Oh, macadamia. There you go.
Somebody helped us. There we go.
Hey.
Is there a difference between mindfulness and meditation, or are they synonymous terms?
Yeah, so mindfulness meditation is a form of mindfulness. Meditation is the more specific act of choosing to focus on your breath or on a thought and doing that as an activity. Mindfulness is really a more broad term that just means awareness. If you're incorporating awareness into any activity, you can mindfully wash the dishes, for example. When you wash the dishes, you can think, oh man, I really don't want to be washing the dishes right now. This stinks. Or you can, just be aware of the sensations of your hands touching the soap or touching the water, or, touching that dish, and let it be something you accept that you're doing it, and you let it be a little tiny little retreat from everything else you have to do. Yes, Insight Timer, again, it's a free app. There is a subscription service available if you want to take advantage of all the different courses you can get through that app, but it is free. I know other people like the Calm app. That's a pretty common one I see people using. And then there's a very popular program called Headspace, but that is not free. I mean, it's a free at first, but I do both walking and meditation. So if you ever go on a retreat at a monastery, what you'll do at that monastery is sit, walk, sit, walk, sit, walk. They really are interchangeable. And I do both of them. And I think these days, because I spend so much time sitting at the computer, I tend to do more walking meditation. But both are really effective. The hard thing about walking meditation is you're usually somebody else is gonna see you doing it. Unlike for sitting, for me, I have a place where I can go and sit and have total privacy. But yeah, mantras, again, mantras are a very effective form of meditation. That's more in the realm of what's it called? Transcendental meditation uses mantras. That's a different type of meditation than insight meditation. But basically, you have to find what works for you. For some people, sitting and being with a breath, that's what they go to. For some people, they like to do guided meditations. For some people, they like to do mantras. Really, whatever. Just try a bunch of them out, and then see which one for you has the most positive effect.
One moment.
Siri, what did we do?
Thank you, Dr.
Oh, wait, was that
Kahn.
was that my Siri?
No. I don't know. It might have been somebody else's.
Maybe talking to me. But yeah, any other questions? Thank you. I do these because I enjoy bringing these types of techniques out to the world. But I can't tell you how good this was for me, frankly, personally. At the end of a very hard day, I had a day filled with a lot of conflict with some of my coworkers, and so it was really nice to come and do this with you guys. So thank you so much.
A lot of appreciation on our side for your time here and all of that. Yeah. Big applause.
Thank you so much. Hope you guys have a great rest of the semester, and I know it's hard now going into the holidays. Good. I'm glad. Yeah, all the best wishes for
This lecture came at a perfect time.
Good.
As we approach the Thanksgiving holiday and just the holidays period and everything that we've been going through. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for joining us. Hey, there's Asa.
Okay, so everyone, you have a code word. You know it's a 250-word synopsis for those of you getting credit for being here tonight. And this was our last in the series. This is our last lecture, so a great way to end it. And thank you again. I'll be here for a while if anybody would like to hang out and talk a little bit. And otherwise, have a good rest of your eating. Have a great Thanksgiving holiday.
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Well.
Professor?
Yes.
I have a question. So the code and the 250 synopsis is due tonight?
Well, there's this very kind of odd thing in Canvas that if I don't make the date due, that sometimes it doesn't show up in students that there's a feed that there's been an assignment or that they have something coming up. So I've started making it due the day that I assign it, but then I give you a window of time for a week to actually do it.
Okay, because I missed the first part of this because I was in another class. So I just came in, I was like so confused what's going on. So that's why.
Yeah, so it's open for the week and do it anytime in there.
Okay, I have another one. Do we hit the Carmen project and the orchestra that we need to attend? That is the same thing, right?
So the
essay?
Yeah, for the orchestra, I gave you an assignment in Canvas to watch the production from the Metropolitan Opera. It's a pay-per-view. It's a $5 pay-per-view if you want to do that. You can also find it on YouTube for free, but I particularly like that one. I think the quality is a lot better, and for $5, it might be worth it. So do whichever you'd like to do.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Excuse me, Professor. One question.
Hi, Rosia.
Hi, Professor. For assignment for textbook online, we have to watch free orchestra from YouTube and then write about that.
Yeah, so you could do a free Carmen opera from YouTube if you'd like, or you can use the one that I put up in the assignments in Canvas, which is which I was just talking about. It's a pay-per-view. It's a $5 for 24 hours from Metropolitan Opera. Which
is it available right now in the Kahn ones?
It should be there in Canvas. If you don't see it, send me an email and I'll help you find it. But it's under assignments and it should say the alternative to the orchestra performance.
Okay, and one more question, Professor. Actually, I am very bad in listening to music. Actually, for taking the quiz listening, it takes a lot of time. I listen and listen the music and then take the quiz. Is it possible we have some extra credit? Because for me, because English is not my primary language, it is so difficult for me, this class.
Yeah,
just too many times and I have to read and it takes a lot of my time.
Which class are you taking?
300.
300. Okay. Well, there are a lot of extra points built into the class. So you need 9,000 points to get an A in the course, right?
Yeah.
Right, right. And so, you know, you only have to have 3,000 points in the textbook of the total 9,000 to be eligible to pass. So you can get your points any other way that you'd like. And there are plenty of ways to do that. And I think I have about 15,000 points loaded up for you to choose from. So there are a lot of, if you're doing discussion boards or if you're coming into these lectures and you're getting credit for these lectures, those are all point earning opportunities.
That you each week give us, it is extra credit, the discussion, or no?
Well, there's not really a concept of extra credit in my class because all points are good. All points are equal. And so of all of my assignments, choose what you'd like to do. Just remember you need to have at least 3,000 in the online textbook. But after you have that, then however you earn your points is fine. Okay. And if you want an A, you need 9,000 of them.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Professor. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a nice Thanksgiving. Thank you. Bye.
Dr. Thompson.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Hello.
Hi.
Lucy. Hello, Lucy.
I also noticed that within the text, there's I think there's another essay assignment for 1,000 words. That's right. That's correct.
There are 2 essays and
two essays, right?
Are you in 300? Yes, there are 2 essays there. So
okay.
One's a personal reflection. That's a 1,000-word essay, and that's you know what your parents were listening to before you were born and what you listened to until you were 5 and so on, right?
Okay.
So that's that one. The other one is the attend a live orchestra performance, which we can't do right now. And
right.
so
no.
that's why the Carmen watching. The
no,
Carmen
that one was clear. I just
okay.
barely came across the other one, the reflection. Just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
You're
Have
welcome.
a great evening.
You too.
Oh, also, Professor, I think it's the Carmen 5, lecture 5. Is the code there chocolate chip cookie also?
I don't know. I have to remember. I have to go in and look it up.
Yeah, because like I was looking at it like while listening to it.
Yeah. Well, it's
and
in the
she
lecture.
said chocolate chip cookie, but you said on the first lecture, yeah, it's in the lecture, and then like you said on the beginning is chocolate chip cookie too. So like I was like confused, like 2 codes at the same time or something.
Do you mean did more than one lecture have they have chocolate chip cookie as its code word? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So
that's correct.
Fine, right?
Two lectures had chocolate chip cookie.
Okay, makes sense. And also for that, I think I missed like the submission for that, and I just put the code on the comments and I emailed it to you before. So like I just wanna, if I can get a grade for that, or it's fine if I don't.
So if you send me, which class are you in, Mary?
300.
300. So if you send me the code for the lecture that you want credit for, I'll go ahead and give you credit for it.
Okay, yeah, because I emailed you twice already and I didn't get any email back, so I was like getting scared.
Well, that's odd. If that happens, that you know, don't let 24 hours. If I haven't answered an email in 24 hours, then I probably haven't received it or it got shuffled somewhere. So
yeah,
I will go in a search tonight to see if I find 2 emails from you that I haven't seen.
Okay,
but go ahead, send it to me again tonight, and I will look for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the alternative lecture for the orchestra is not on Canvas. It's not under the assignments.
And 300, are you sure?
Yeah.
Because I have other students who have turned it in. I will go and look though. If you send me your email, I'll go and look, and I'll send you the link to it if that's the case.
Thank you so much.
And if it's not there, I'll make sure it's there. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
What's up, Dr. Thompson?
Hey, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
How have you been?
I've been okay. Just hanging in there.
You still playing your fiddle?
A little bit here and there. You know what happened was I came down with an eye condition. So like I can't really read music anymore. So that's kind of why I had to stop playing at ARC. But you know, otherwise I, you know, might still be playing. But
Yeah.
yeah.
What's
So
going on?
I play.
What's going on with your eyes?
So I came down with this condition where like I was having blurry vision for a while,
Oh.
and then it's the situation is